So I tell people that my father is an Elvis tribute artist and has been doing it for longer than I've been alive. And the longer I grow, like the older I get, that becomes a lot longer in time. And I'm like, wow, that's a long time to be an Elvis tribute artist. So let's start from the beginning. So what was it that, as a child, you were like, okay, Elvis? What was it? What was it about Elvis that made you want to don the suit?
Well, your grandmother actually, my mother got me started on it because, since I was 5 years old, she listened to Elvis, and your grandfather, my dad, was a truck driver, got a lot, and as soon as he got out of the house, boy, the records went on, and the record player was going and was playing Elvis, because my dad, he liked to listen to like Ernest Tubb and the Foggy River Boys and Johnny Cash, of course, and a lot of that. That's what your grandfather played, and he just thought Elvis was just, why are you listening to him? He ain't gonna amount to a hill of beans, And I can tell you though, honestly, years later, he regretted saying that, and he goes, "I never thought he'd make it. I just." Never thought he'd amount to anything, and so that's what I did. I just started listening. Your grandmother got me started on it, and ever since then, I just started doing Elvis. I think I was about 5. So
5.
Listening to everything. It's amazing because your kids that are your age. They can see Elvis on the Ed Sullivan Show, shaking his hips and the girls going wild at that time, and you can only see it what was recorded, and now I being that young got to see it actually live at the time it was on.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy if you really think about it. Yeah,
and of course it was black and white. We had no color television.
Yeah,
you grew up on the block. If you had a television in your house, you were almost considered rich. I mean, you had a television.
Oh, yeah.
You got a television? Oh, my God. Can we come over and watch? That sort of thing. Because a lot of people listening to this podcast, because what we used to call GE Theater. And GE Theater was, you went downtown in front of the General Electric store, they'd have the TVs on, and you sit there and watch. You could watch the boxing matches or anything that was on television that they had at the time, Wow. So that's where it all began, and it began with your grandmother getting. So it's her fault. That's what it is.
It's her fault that you went down this path.
Yeah, went right down.
What was it about Elvis other than any other artist during that time? Like, what was it about Elvis that just everybody just fell in love with?
Well, a lot of it's a unique. It's a uniqueness about a person who comes along every once in a great while, that just captures everybody's hearts. That's what separates the greats from the rest of us. There's just something about them that fascinates us, and most of it is called a word that we don't use anymore. I mean, we still use it, but we don't use it enough because I think it's just limited to a certain amount of people to come on the earth because it's called charisma.
Oh no, that's still very valid. Absolutely.
What charisma doesn't just pertain to entertainers; it could pertain to politicians or school teachers or firemen, police officers, whatever. Yeah. And it just comes along. And when Elvis came on there was you didn't see anybody shaking their legs and getting into the music like he did. He felt it. He had the soul, and to be able to project that on a 45 or on television was unheard of. Let me tell you about life. Life throws you curves all the time.
Oh, we're getting deep already.
When you're growing up, you just don't know which direction you're going to go to. You don't know where you're going to be. For all I know, I wanted to be a baseball player.
That's right. You did minor league baseball.
Yeah, I wanted to be a ball player, but just wasn't to be. Everything that I did. I mean, I had some really good jobs. I mean, everything I did just kept me going back to music and so forth. But all the way from grade school all the way to high school, everybody called me Elvis, because I had my top button unbuttoned, stuff like that. And I'd sing to the girls, and stuff like that when they asked me to, and they were basically teasing me, but I was taking it serious because I was really into it, and everything. And then came along, college started to come around, and I went to college. I remember all of my 4 weeks of it was fun. I just
you saw me roll my eyes.
But then you went to the Marines.
Yes, after that. Well, to be perfectly honest, I joined the choir in the Missouri Southern College, and I joined the choir, and I was doing. I thought I was doing quite well. I was singing good. And I got called in. This was the killer. I was called in by the choir director, and he sits down and goes, well, he says, I got to tell you, he says, I got to let you go out of the choir. And I go, really? I thought I was doing really well. I had the loudest voice, if I sing loud, everybody else is going to project, and stuff. I thought, this is what I'm thinking. He goes, and he goes, well, you sound too much like Elvis and I can't use it. Oh, so you're an Elvis hater. That's why. So that's what I was thinking.
But at the church, everyone looked at Elvis like, oh.
You really pissed me off. And actually, that day, I quit college. That was
wow.
That was in. But that's what I did. I went in the Marine Corps. And then when I got out in 1974, I got out and figure out what we're doing. Well, your uncle, my brother, had a little duo, and then I started getting involved with that, and that's how we actually got the music business started. I was their agent.
Oh wow!
I was the agent.
Uncle Jim and Jerry.
Jim and Jerry.
I was
wow.
the agent. So
Jerry Grothendieck.
Jerry Grothendieck. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
There's a family friend. Guys, I cannot make this stuff up. His name is Jerry Grothendieck.
Amen.
Well, we used to call him Wharton Picker, but that's besides the point. But we had a lot of pet names for each other. There's a lot of them.
Oh God, that is an unfortunate last name.
Sweetheart, just one of those things.
He ended up playing bass for us for years.
Yes, I remember.
And he was actually the best man in our wedding, also.
Yes.
But your dad made up names all the time, so he made it. Whenever he'd introduce him, he'd say, "This is C.J. Lomax." And people still call him that to this day.
I'm the only one that calls him Jerry.
We are the only people that call him Jerry. He's
C.J. Lomax.
C.J. Lomax.
He made him C.J. Lomax from Jerry Grothendieck. Anyway,
so
we digress.
Yeah, we and him, and then he had it was just two guitars, and they were doing a lot of Jim Croce stuff, and which was really popular at the time, and stuff. And that's how it all got started. That's exactly how the whole thing got started. I booked him, and I booked him from there. Booked him in Holiday Inns, and we added a keyboard player and a drummer, and then we started doing skits. Now skits and shows like
comedy duo stuff.
Yeah, so comedy stuff like Guitar Zan.
Guitar Zan, he's a guitar man. He's all you can say. Give him a hand, Guitar Zan.
We were show. Everybody was show back in those days. We had any place you went, they had some sort of show, and we did a show. Now you got a picture, your Uncle Jim 6'5" in a Tarzan with his little thing. Not his little thing, but his little mock or whatever they call it.
Let's hope Jim never sees this.
Figure, whatever the hell he wore.
I never knew this. Wow.
And we had a guy dressed in an ape suit, and then we had Jane and everything else like that, and we have to go all this, and we're playing in a country damn dive band, show, these old boys are looking at us, but they, and the places were packed every night. We played 6 nights a week, and it was packed all the time, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever time they closed, they were packed, and it was just so much fun. Looking back on it, was fun, but it was a lot of